What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some crazy battles in the Catch Cup running Arctibax, Shadow Whiscash with Water Gun as the fast move, and Shadow Haunter. The other day I said Shadow Excadrill was the best closer for this meta. Well, Shadow Haunter might have a point to prove in this video because this thing pulled off so many insane sweeps for me. It was absolutely crazy. This team is very strong against both Gligar and Clodsire, which for me were probably the two most common Pokemon that I faced in the early Catch Cup meta, so I was able to climb a couple hundred elo with this team. Today I noticed that people weren't really running Clodsire anymore, and I started to face a lot more dragons in the back, which my backline certainly did struggle against, but overall I went pretty positive with this team. So with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What has been your favourite Pokemon to run in the Go Battle League this season? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so go into the first battle, the Arctibax into Steelix. Now this is not a good lead whatsoever. I'm going to safe swap into my Whiscash. Obviously Whiscash is the hard answer to the Steelix on my team, but I can't really come in with the Haunter, otherwise they can just very easily probably double shield and fully farm me down there. So we do let the move go through. They come in with a Gligar, so potentially very weak to the Whiscash in the back, and this will allow me to make it to a Blizzard, and Blizzard will obviously grab a shield in this matchup, otherwise that would very easily one-shot them even with the debuff. Now the opponent did get quite a big wing attack farm down. I'm going to shield the first one. There's no point in letting that go through, otherwise Steelix probably just farms down my entire team. They do make it to another charge move, and unfortunately I can't afford to double shield. They do go for the dig once again. They're going to swap back into the Steelix. We go for an Avalanche. Avalanche will be neutral damage. Steelix does tank that very easily, but we're now going to come in with the Haunter. I'm going to have to use my shield here. Breaking Swipe is going to do a lot of damage to my Shadow Haunter, but I can get a very big Shadow Claw farm down. The opponent is going to wait out the switch clock here, and they're going to come back in with the Gligar. We get the farm down. We have so much energy. We're going to bait with an Ice Punch. Do we live the wing attack damage here? Yes, we do, and we can fire off a Shadow Ball. This is debuffed, but Shadow Ball nearly one-shots the Charizard. We can come in, Dragon Breath, farm it down, and somehow I'm able to take that first game. Into the next game, we see Gligar in the lead, and this is great. I love seeing Gligar in the lead. We have 3 Pokemon that can beat Gligar in Gligar, not Glygard. In the even shield scenarios, the opponent goes for an Aerial Ace bait. Fine with me. We're going to full send the Avalanche. No point in baiting here. Grabbing a shield. Now we swap into our Whiscash, and I can actually just safely let this move go through. The opponent does full send the dig there, but they're not swapping out straight away. They clearly don't have a super hard response to my Whiscash. Now we're going to go for a Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb is going to do some nice damage, so the opponent does use their shield, and they're going to throw just before we make it to the next Mud Bomb, so really good timing by the opponent there. I'm actually going to use my shield. I want to get off the Mud Bomb, and then I will be able to put the Sableye into range where we can just farm them down, although they get a big Shadow Claw farm down, and they do leave with a Foul Play loaded. So I'm actually going to let Arctibax go down. Hopefully Shadow Haunter can sweep in the end game once again. The opponent comes back in with the Gligar, and they've got a Medicham in the back, and this is going to be one of the most satisfying things you see all day as we one-shot the Medicham with the Shadow Ball, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Trevenant in the lead, so great to see it in the lead. The opponent going to safe swap into Gligar, and this is an odd swap from the opponent here, but Gligar does have some play. You've seen already. Well, they're actually going to go for a Night Slash there, which is quite interesting. We're going to go for an Avalanche, and once again, there's no point in baiting here. I've got 3 Pokemon that can beat it, but obviously we need to go for the right charge moves. Now we're going to come in with our Whiscash. I can safely let whatever they throw go through. Night Slash actually gets them the boost, and if they've got Aerial Ace as the second move, I should live this, but it's actually a dig, and the opponent flips switch advantage, and this is really bad for me. We're going to come in, Dragon Breath, farm them down, and let's see what the opponent wants to do here. They're going to come back in with the Trevenant, and we're going to go straight for the Avalanche. This should be grabbing the final shield from the opponent, but they will be able to Shadow Claw, farm me down, so we swap back into the Haunter. The opponent responds with a Mandibuzz, and this is actually winnable for me as we go for an Ice Punch. That doesn't quite do 50% of their health, but the Shadow Claw damage has already got them into the yellow, and the opponent makes a mistake here by throwing their energy. All we have to do now is farm up to the back-to-back Ice Punches. Shadow Haunter gonna win CMP against everything in this meta, unless some mad lad is running a Shadow Ghastly. But here, we go for the Ice Punch, taking out the Mandibuzz. Ice Punch will be enough damage to take out the Trevenant as well. and we're able to somehow sweep that game there, although I think the opponent did make a slight mistake in that game. But GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Umbreon in the lead, so fairly neutral lead matchup. Typically, I do run ABB style teams, so I normally have to swap out of neutral matchups, but here this isn't really an ABB style team, so I'm just going to stay in, go for the Avalanche right away. Avalanche is going to do quite a lot of damage to the very bulky Umbreon, and it puts them into range, but I can just go for a Dragon Claw. Now, I could have tried to throw straight away, but I think they did throw just before we make it to that Dragon Claw, and here I thought I could go for a full Dragon Breath farm down, but it didn't look like it, so we take them out with the Dragon Claw, and the opponent comes in with a Clodsire. Now, they come in with a Mud Shot Clodsire, so I'm actually going to come in with my Whiscash. It is a little bit safer here, and the opponent not swapping out, so I'm actually going to shield. They go for a Sludge Bomb bait. Good play by the opponent, but they've got a Lantern in the back. Now, this is a matchup where obviously running Water Gun is not so ideal for us, as it is resisted, but it doesn't make that big of a difference here. So we go for another Mud Bomb, grabbing the shield from the opponent, and we can safely tank whatever they throw. I actually might just let both moves go through here as they go for the Surf there, and the opponent throws just before we make it to the next charge move. So very good timing. Surf gonna be taking out my Whiscash, and now we come in with the Haunter. We're going for the farm down. We don't quite get it, but I think they're on 1 HP, so I go for the Ice Punch. The opponent used their shield, but they weren't on 1 HP. They must have had 2 HP because they do live that. They get off the Surf, and now we need to make it to an Ice Punch. This needs to be enough damage here to take them out, and Ice Punch coming through. Barely doesn't take them out there. So unfortunate. Do we live this charge move here? They go for Sludge Bomb. We actually live it, but we get a simultaneous KO, and their Lantern still had 1 HP remaining, so they're able to take that game, unfortunately. But GG's to that opponent there, very well played. Bit of a mistake by me, but into the next game we see a Quagsire in the lead. The opponent isn't even going to farm to the potential Stone Edge, so I can just let that move go through. We're now going to full send an Avalanche. Once again, I do like to just full send the big move. Unfortunately, that actually doesn't quite take them out there. I didn't realise that, but now we're going to swap into our Whiscash. The opponent comes in with their Gligar, and this is actually a good matchup for us. Unfortunately, because we are quite low, a Dig will take us out from this range, but I'm going to choose not to throw a charge move there, just force the opponent to throw the big energy move. And at this point, we're going to come back in with the Arctibax, and I will be able to get them fairly low. I'm actually just going to let this move go through. As the opponent goes for Aerial Ace, we actually barely live that. We make it to a Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw should be taking out the opponent from this range, and they've got a Clodsire in the back. So all we've got to do here is make sure the opponent doesn't make a catch onto their Quagsire, and we should be looking pretty good here. We do grab a shield with the Ice Punch. I'm now going to shield up the potential Earthquake. They're probably going to bait with a Sludge Bomb. It is the Sludge Bomb, and now I'm going to massively overfarm. The opponent goes for the catch there. They're not able to successfully pull off a catch, and now we can shield. Just go straight Ice Punch in this matchup still, and Ice Punch from this range probably does take them out here. The Shadow Claw damage has really add up, and we do take them out with just the Ice Punch, and are able to take that game. Into next game, we see Arctibax into Medicham, so not great. Gonna say swap into my Shadow Whiscash, and the opponent responds with a Trevenant. So far, really hard counter team. I'm actually not even gonna build up to the Blizzard here. Probably a mistake. I should be forcing the opponent to throw straight away, because now they can massively overfarm, go for a Seed Bomb. Seed Bomb obviously still gonna one-shot the Whiscash. We can come in with our Arctibax, and I'm not really sure if I should be shielding in this matchup. They're probably just gonna go straight Shadow Ball, so it would make sense to shield the first one, because if they do go for that Shadow Ball, now a Seed Bomb will be enough damage to take me out, but no, they actually don't get off the charge move, so now I can swap into my Haunter. The opponent has a Licky Tongue in the back. Sometimes that happens, you just get completely hard-walled. There's literally nothing you can do, but whatever. GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see a Arctibax Mirror Lead. This, I wasn't really sure how to play this out. Sometimes you go for the extra Dragon Breath, go for the farm down, and you come out with an Avalanche loaded. The opponent's going to come in with their own Whiscash here, so you go for that Avalanche. Avalanche grabs a shield. It's also a Shadow Whiscash. This would be really cool if we were facing against an opponent using the exact same team. Though so far they are running Mud Shot instead of Mud Bomb. We can now go for a Mud Bomb of our own, and this will get them fairly low. Mud Bomb does go unshielded, and now we can just let this move go through. I don't think it quite takes us out. It doesn't, so we swap into a Haunter. The opponent has a Skarmory in the back. Now this is kind of just a baiting game here. We're going to go for the Ice Punch bait. I need the opponent to shield this move, and the opponent does shield it up, and now we make it to the Shadow Ball in time. Shadow Ball will easily be enough damage to take out the Skarmory, and they do actually farm us down there, but I'm able to Water Gun, farm down the Whiscash, and take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Charizard in the lead, so I'm going to stay in initially, try to catch the Dragon Claw onto my Whiscash, and because I swap out here, I'm hoping the opponent doesn't predict I'm running Water Gun, so the opponent actually does swap out there. I was hoping maybe they'd stay in initially, because otherwise, that's actually a pretty decent matchup for the Charizard, but here we go for a Mud Bomb straight away. The opponent lets the first one go through. They should be able to outpace me to 2 charge moves here, so the opponent goes for the Mud Bomb. That gets us fairly low, and they will have to throw to take us out, and once again, very good timing by the opponent, throwing just before we make it to the next Mud Bomb. They've now revealed they are running Mud Bomb and Aqua Tail, so I can safely come back in with my Arctibax, let this move go through. Mud Bomb not going to do too much damage here, and I will just be able to Dragon Breath, farm them all the way down before they make it to another move. And the opponent probably going to come back in with the Charizard, so we can overfarm, farming to just 1 Dragon Breath away from the back-to-back Dragon Claws, grabbing a shield, going for Dragon Claw number 2 straight away, and this might even grab the final shield. It does grab the final shield, and now we get them fairly low here. The opponent swaps into Lantern, and I probably should have banked the energy here, but instead I throw the Dragon Claw. We're going to swap into our Haunter. They are running Water Gun as the fast move, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky. They're going to go for a Surf. I can't really afford to go for a Shadow Ball and the Ice Punch, so I actually settle once I get to back-to-back Ice Punches. Ice Punch is resisted damage, but we get the Shadow Claw farm down. We come out with the Ice Punch loaded, and this is easily going to be enough to take out the Charizard, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Arctibax into Pidgeot, and I think this might be one of the worst battles I've ever played. So the opponent's staying in here. They do barely outpace us. If this is a Brave Bird, it will fully one-shot the Arctibax there. Not ideal. They debuff their defense. They're staying in here, and I thought they're probably going to go for a bait now because I'm easily going to use my shield, but no, they didn't bait. And yeah, I've kind of thrown this game away. We make it to a Mud Bomb though, up against the Venusaur. They let it go through. I'm hoping I can shield once, fully farm down the Venusaur, and then they've got something very weak to Haunter in the back. But if they don't, it's basically game over. They go for the Frenzy Plant. It is a Quagsire in the back, and yeah, if I just shielded my Arctibax, I think we would have been perfectly fine here, but unfortunately, like this, we're going to lose to this Quagsire very easily, and actually, I don't know why I'm even throwing here. I'm just wasting my own time, so sorry to this opponent. I could have made this game a lot faster, but this Aqua Tail will definitely take up my Shadow Haunter, and I do end up losing that game. But GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Arctibax into Jellicent, so this is a fairly decent lead for us. They have to go for the Shadow Ball to take us out, and we can live 1 from full health. Although the longer this matchup goes on, then obviously Shadow Ball will basically take us out. So I'm going to let the first move go through. They do full send the Shadow Ball, and now we swap into our Shadow Whiscash, catching the Surf here. Probably just could have gone for that Dragon Claw, as the opponent then comes in with a Shadow Victory Bell. Not ideal for me. I think I'm quite close to a Dragon Claw on my Arctibax, so we come back in. Actually, we do have it loaded already, so now Dragon Claw might grab the final shield from the opponent. It does exactly that, and now we come in with our Shadow Haunter. We resist the Razor Leaf damage, but it is still absolutely chunking here. I think my best play is actually to just go for that Ice Punch straight away. I don't know what they've got in the back. I need to maintain some of my health here. We take out the Victory Bell, and the opponent has a Clodsire in the back, so this is actually winnable here. I just need to land 2 Ice Punches. They go for a Sludge Wand bait. I should have known. They come back in with Jellicent. We go for the farm down, and I'm thinking I should live a Poison Sting. It is double resisted, so we go for the back-to-back Ice Punches. But no, we didn't live that, and unfortunately, I do end up losing that game. So GG's to that opponent. And into the next game, we're going to see a Mantine in the lead, so we're going to stay in, fairly neutral matchup. I'm just going to go straight for an Avalanche, and if it does connect, I'm probably going to swap into my Whiscash, but no, the opponent swaps into their Steelix, so they give up switch advantage. They can go for a Breaking Swipe here. And the good thing about a Water Gun Whiscash is now, even though they debuffed my defense, I should be able to go for Mud Bomb and just take out the Steelix here. The opponent is going to shield up the Mud Bomb. I'm thinking I still live this, so I'm going to let this move go through as well. Breaking Swipe doesn't quite take us out. We make it to the Mud Bomb here, and Mud Bomb, we are double debuff, so this actually might not take them out. It barely doesn't take them out, but we get the water gun farm down. We maintain the switch advantage here. We can go straight for an avalanche up against the Mantine, and this is going to do big damage to the Mantine. And I think the safe play is just to shield this up and then go for the farm down. And the opponent going to go for an aerial ace. We actually swap into our Haunter, and it's a victory bell in the back. Unfortunately, they will be able to resist it, Razor Leaf, farm me down, but not after I grab the final shield with an Ice Punch. And the opponent can go for a charge move here. They're choosing not to. We get the Dragon Breath farm down, and I make it out with an avalanche loaded to throw into the Mantine, taking out the Mantine, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see Arctibax into Lantern. So this is a great lead for us. The opponent safe swaps into double. I'm not really sure what to do here, so I'm going to go for a Dragon Claw straight away, and then I'll probably swap into my Whiscash. Eventually, we swap, actually no, into Haunter. I was hoping to catch a Body Slam. Unfortunately, I'm not able to do so, and now they've got so much energy. They full send the payback here. I'll be honest, I couldn't remember how much energy they had, so I end up throwing an Ice Punch on alignment. Not very good timing there, and the opponent can now go for another charge move. They might bait, but I do end up correctly shielding the payback once again. This puts me in a really good position. At this point, maybe could have gone for a resisted Shadow Claw farm down, but quite risky, so we go for the Ice Punch, taking out the double, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. They're going to come in with Obstagoon, so we're going to farm, throw on the potential CMP type, but the opponent reads me like a book. They swap back into my Lantern, so I'm going to once again bank the Ice Punch, swap into my Arctibax, and they do have quite a significant energy advantage here, so they're going to be able to get off a Thunderbolt, which does quite a lot of damage. I'm going to have to fire off my Dragon Claw just before they make it to the next Surf, and this will be taking out the Lantern. We have just about enough health here to make it to that Dragon Claw, and Dragon Claw will go unshielded by the opponent, and at this point we're looking to be in a pretty good position here. As long as they're not running Hyper Beam, I will say, because Hyper Beam probably nearly takes us out from this range, but we can just safely let a Night Slash go through. They don't get the boost, and now with the Water Gun damage, we will put them into range where either a Mud Bomb or an Ice Punch will be enough to take them out. What I don't want to do is try and get fancy and swap into my Haunter. I know I easily win the CMP tie, so the opponent goes for the full farm down, but we do have the Ice Punch loaded, and this is enough damage to easily take out the Obstagoon, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see Arctibax into a Shadow Gligar. So once again, I do love to see Gligar, especially in the lead, because I know that it doesn't really matter where it's aligned. I can do pretty well against it. I'm going to let the first move go through as the opponent full sends a Dig. That actually nearly takes us out, which is insane. Once again, no point in baiting here, so I'm going for the Avalanche. We grab the shield, and now we can just come in with our Shadow Whiscash. We're probably going to shield this up just because they did go for the dig first time round, and they do go for another dig. They swap into Quagsire, and we've got a lot of health here. So I'm going to let the first move go through as the opponent goes straight for an Aqua Tail. We can see our health. We can pretty comfortably live the next Aqua Tail as well. So we go for the Mud Bomb, grabbing the final shield from the opponent. At this point, we're just going to let the Whiscash go down. Well, not go down, but we'll let the move go through. Go for a Mud Bomb here, and this will put them into range where we can farm them down with my Shadow Haunter. I try to snipe with that Shadow Claw. It barely doesn't take them out there, which is unfortunate. But we shield up the Aqua Tail. The opponent comes in with their Clodsire, and once again, I've got to look out for a catch. The opponent goes for the catch. We do correctly not throw there, and here I think they're at 7 fast moves there, so we know we do live a Sludge Bomb from this range, but it just depends. Is this a Stone Edge? It is the Stone Edge, and unfortunately, that does take us out. If I went for the Shadow Ball there, I think I would have been okay, but I just didn't think the opponent was going to run Stone Edge there, so GG's to that opponent. And into the next game, we see another mirror lead, so we are going to go straight for the Dragon Claw. This time, the opponent doesn't throw, so they will be able to fully Dragon Breath, farm us down. We actually try and snipe them with our Shadow Haunter here. Big mistake, as we don't quite get that snipe, and now the opponent going to come in with a Pelipper. They are switch locked here because I don't... Wait, no. Did we get the farm down there? I'm not actually sure. But we go for the Ice Punch. The opponent correctly calls that. We're actually going to shield anyways, and the opponent goes for the Weather Ball, and they've got a Skeledirge in the back. We can barely live the 2 Incinerates there. So we overfarm. I don't even know why I'm going for Ice Punch. There's no point at all. We don't make it to another move, so it's just a stupid decision here. But now we can come in with our Whiscash. We should be looking pretty good here. The opponent farms to 100 energy, meaning that's the easiest place for me to catch a move. They go for Disarming Voice, so they will actually come out with a Shadow Ball loaded, but it doesn't matter. It is not enough damage to take out the Whiscash, and even though Mud Bomb is double resisted, it will easily be enough damage from this range to take out the Pelipper, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see Arctibax into Lantern. So once again, a great lead, but I think I did lose the last time, so let's see if I can play this one better. They're actually running Water Gun, which is fine for us here, although up against Whiscash, that's actually a little bit worse of a matchup because Water Gun, of course, is neutral damage towards us. Now we're going to go for the Dragon Claw. We can outpace them to the back-to-back charge moves, so we're going to throw on what looks like a CMP tie, so good timing there. Dragon Claw will be enough damage to take out the Lantern, and they have a Shadow Dragonair in the back, so this is quite dangerous for us. Luckily, we do make it to another charge move because I did throw at the best timing possible up against that Lantern. But now here we're going to come in with the Haunter. They will be able to barely outpace me to the charge move. I have to use my shield here, and then I think what I'm going to do is bank the energy, swap into my Whiscash, hope that I could farm them down, but they've got Trevenant in the back. There's nothing we can do there, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to that opponent. Into the next game, we're going to see a Vigoroth in the lead, so a bit of a tricky lead matchup. Going to say swap into my Whiscash, the opponent choosing not to swap out here, so possibly weak to the Whiscash in the back. And we're going to go for a Mud Bomb straight away with my Whiscash save swap. If the opponent chooses to stay in, I'm actually probably just going to let the Whiscash go down here. Body Slam will be taking out the Whiscash, and now we can just come in with the Shadow Haunter. We do triple resist the counter damage and double resist Body Slam. So I'm going to overfarm here, go for an Ice Punch just before the opponent makes it to a Bulldoze. I figured if I throw before they get to the CMP tie, then they're less likely to use their shield. They come in with a Charger Bug. I'm just going to full send the Shadow Ball here, and if they let this go through, it will one-shot the Charger Bug from full health nearly. We're going to bank an Ice Punch there, swap into my Arctibax. Obviously, Ice Punch is not going to do much damage, but we didn't make it to the Shadow Ball. At this point, we've got 2 shields. I should live 1 charge move from this Alolan Sandslash, but we're going to go for the Dragon Claw. That gets them incredibly low, and at this point, I can just safely shield this up. They don't have back-to-back moves, and a Dragon Breath will be enough damage to take out the Sandslash, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Arctibax into Skarmory. So we're actually going to stay in this matchup. If we can land an Avalanche, then I probably will eventually swap into my Whiscash here. But Avalanche is going to do big damage to the Skarmory. Dragon Breath is resisted, but it looks like we are actually dealing some pretty nice damage in this matchup. They go for the Sky Attack, and I think we're not quite going to be able to Dragon Breath farm them down. So I swap into my Whiscash. Honestly, I probably could have got that farm down there, but it doesn't really matter. The opponent is going to come in with a Quagsire. They might be running double Mud Boys in the back here, so going to let the first move go through as they go for the Mud Bomb. We're now going to throw a Mud Bomb just before they make it to the next charge move, and Mud Bomb will be grabbing a shield from the opponent. And once again, they throw just before we make it to that next Mud Bomb, but Mud Bomb doesn't quite take us out, so we do get off our own second Mud Bomb here, and Mud Bomb will get the Quagsire into the red health, although they get a very big farm down there. So we're going to come in with our Haunter, we're going to shield this up, and I should be able to fully Shadow Claw farm them down before they make it to the next charge move, and the opponent has a Dragonair in the back, so we're going to try and build up to the back-to-back Ice Punches. Unfortunately, we're not quite getting there. I don't want to swap out here, because once again, if I swap out, then potentially we give up a few extra fast moves, but here we do barely make it to the Dragon Claw. We take out the Shadow Dragonair, and I am able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent. Into the next game, we're going to see a Shadow Alolan Sandslash in the lead, so not a great lead. I'm going to stay in initially. I'm actually not sure why I'm staying in here, but I guess the previous time we saw Alolan Sandslash, we actually did do quite a lot of damage with our Arctipax. But here the opponent going to go for a charge move. We swap, we catch it onto our Whiscash, and the opponent responds with their own Quagsire once again. So seeing very common that the opponent going to come in with a Quagsire up against our Whiscash. I don't really mind that because it is quite a neutral matchup, and if the opponent wants to take us out, they're going to have to throw 2 charge moves to get rid of us, and that does put us in a pretty good position here. We get them fairly low, nearly into the red health. I'm hoping I can Dragon Breath, farm them down before they make it to a potential Stone Edge, but if they do get to that potential Stone Edge, which they could be at now, I will use my shield. It is the Stone Edge. That would do more damage than anything the Alolan Sandslash is going to throw, so I do shield that up. I let this move go through. We're now going to go for the Dragon Claw here, and then if the opponent lets this go through, I might swap into my Haunter. No, we go for the full Dragon Breath farm down. The opponent has a Clodsire in the back once again, so we come in with the Shadow Haunter. Unfortunately, we are down a shield, and even though we are slightly spammier than the Clodsire, they will be able to take this matchup here. So we're going to use my shield, They go for the Earthquake, full sending it, so that's actually quite good for us, but I still won't be able to make it to another Ice Punch. So we go for the Ice Punch here, grabbing the final shield. They make it to the charge move, and this looks like it's game over. Arctibax has very little health remaining, but the opponent swaps back into the Quagsire, and we make it to a last second Avalanche. They actually just gave me the game there. Avalanche takes out the Clodsire, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see Arctibax into Shadow alone of Ninetales. So this is an awful lead. Going to save swap into my Whiscash immediately. And once again, met with a Quagsire. So this is a matchup where I probably do want to flip switch advantage just because Arctibax can't really do anything up against their Ninetales. So we are going to overfarm. We're still actually going to let this move go through, which is quite an interesting play. But they go for an Aquatail there, which does not do much damage. And I will be able to make it to 2 Mud Bombs just before they make it to the next charge move here. And actually just one turn before them, and we do go for that second Mud Bomb, taking out the Quagsire. We flip switch advantage, which is amazing for me, but even though we are resisting the charm damage here, they are still dealing more damage than we are with our fast move. So they go for the Weather Ball, and we can go for an Ice Punch here, but Ice Punch will probably just be shielded by the opponent. It is shielded, and can we get it to another move? I'm not able to do so. I tried to swap out there, wasn't able to do either, and the opponent has a Lowland Sandslash in the back, so unfortunately double ice there. Quite a hard team for my Arctibax to face, but GG's to that opponent. And into the next game, we see another Gligar in the lead. So once again, just going to let the first move go through. Typically, they do just bait with an Aerial Ace, which we do tank very comfortably. They then swap into their Quagsire, so we're going to go for an Avalanche. Avalanche will be no shielded by the opponent. We swap, we catch the move. I'm hoping it's a Stone Edge, but it's quite unlikely. It is just a Mud Bomb from the opponent, but here we can very easily tank the next charge move as well. Just fully Water Gun, farm them down. They actually go for Aquatail there, and do they make it to another Aquatail? No, they're not able to do so. The opponent comes back in with their Gligar. We go for the Blizzard, but unfortunately we lose the CMP tie. I did not know that. Either that or we were just one turn away. So either way, they take us out there. Didn't really want to use my shield. We're now going to come back in. Actually, no, we come in with the Haunter. The opponent has a Dunsparce in the back here, which is quite tricky for us. We're going to go for a Ice Punch here. Ice Punch, not going to do too much damage, but we do grab a shield. We also threw on the CMP tie there. I think a lot of people have actually said this, but rollout is kind of confusing with the animation. It's like one turn behind what it should be, so I wasn't trying to throw on the CMP tie, but we ended up throwing there anyways. And now at this point, I'm going to use my final shield as they go for a Rock Slide. We're going to swap into our Arctibax, and we do make it to the next charge move. This should be grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and they throw straight away, which is perfect for me. Now I know Gligar has a bit of energy, so they swap back into Gligar. I know that as long as I have just 4 Shadow Claws away from the next charge move, I will be able to easily outpace the Dunsparce, make it to the Ice Punch in time, and Ice Punch takes out the Dunsparce, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see Arctibax into Gligar once again. So once again, just going to stay in this lead matchup, full send the Avalanche as I do every single time. This time the opponent actually overfarms here. So we go for the Avalanche, grabbing a shield from the opponent. Now we swap into our Shadow Whiscash, and the opponent responds with a Surfetch. Now they do barely outpace us. They make it to the Leaf Blade on the CMP tie. I'm actually going to use my shield here. You might think, why would you do that? Well, I know that the Gligar has quite a lot of energy, but I'm thinking if I can get all shields down, Shadow Haunter can be absolutely devastating as a closer. So Leaf Blade does take us out. They are in farm down range for my Shadow Haunter. Ideally, I would want to get 5 Shadow Claws, but unfortunately Surfetch is so glassy that we only get 4 Shadow Claws in. The opponent comes in with a Lantern. We're gonna farm, throw after 6 Shadow Claws. Shadow Ball takes out the Lantern. We swap, we then catch the move onto our Arctibax for no reason whatsoever, and the opponent will be able to throw another Aerial Ace, taking out my Arctibax, and we can save our shield. We won't need it, but I'm going to come in with my Haunter, go for the Ice Punch, and this is easily going to do enough damage here to take out the Gligar, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see Arctibax into a Gyarados. So not a great lead matchup for us, but a lot better than our Whiscash. And I make a big mistake of throwing straight away. There's no point in doing that because the opponent isn't going to throw. And they actually swapped into a Steelix. So really good play by the opponent there. I don't know why I threw straight away. Big mistake on my end, but the opponent goes for a breaking swipe. We can maintain alignment here, but I mean, it's not really going to help us too much. Going to go for a Mud Bomb here, and Mud Bomb will be taking out the Steelix. They're probably just going to come back in with their Gyarados, and I'm going to farm up as much as possible. There's no point in me throwing straight away, and here we actually get quite close to the Blizzard, so the opponent might respect the damage anyways, and they do use their shield. We also get them fairly low with just the Water Gun damage there, so I'm now going to come back in with my Arctibax. I should be able to live this, even if it is a crunch. If it's an outrage, then it does take us out. But here we just stay in. We get off as much Dragon Breath damage as possible. I'm going to shield this up, and I should be able to Shadow Claw, farm them down. They go for a crunch. They don't get the debuff, and now it's just a baiting game. I go for the Ice Punch bait. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do, unfortunately, and now it's game over for me, and there's nothing I can do, so I'm just going to let the move go through. Rockside will be taking out my Shadow Haunter, and I do end up losing that game, but GG's to that opponent, very well played. Into next game, what a surprise, another Gligar. So if you're seeing a lot of one Pokemon, you might as well build a team that's very strong against it, because that way you're just going to do pretty well. And here I'm going to overfarm throwing just before they make it to the next charge move, and the opponent is going to let the Avalanche go through. We do take them out. They come in with a Jellicent. This is also a fine matchup for us. I'm also going for Avalanche here. It is resisted, but it does do slightly more damage than the Dragon Claw, so that's fine with me. The opponent going to throw before I make it to the next charge move anyways. Surf will be taking us out from that range. And now the opponent comes in with a Mandibuzz. We're going to go for an Ice Punch. This should be grabbing a shield from the opponent. And now I'm going to swap. No, I'm not quite going to swap yet. I will eventually swap into my Shadow Whiscash here. And I will swap here, trying to catch the move. Not able to do so, but it doesn't matter. Even if they go for Dark Pulse, I should be able to live two of them. I'm just going to full send the Blizzard here, because with the Water Gun damage, we're basically going to put them into range where an Ice Punch would also take them out here, and we just got to make sure the opponent isn't able to catch as we throw just before the Snarl damage registers. We take out the Mandibuzz. The opponent did have a charge move loaded on the Jellicent, but it doesn't matter. Surf takes us out, but we can very easily Shadow Claw, farm down the Jellicent, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Double in the lead, so I'm going to swap into my Shadow Whiscash here. The opponent staying in, going for a Body Slam straight away. Fine with me. I can live two Body Slams here. The opponent swaps into a Skarmory. We've got an energy advantage, so I will be able to make it to a Blizzard, but if the opponent does end up shielding this, I think they can just fully Air Slash farm me down. And we are going to barely make it to a Mud Bomb, but this is resisted, so I don't expect to get a shield here. But the opponent actually double shields their Skarmory, which is perfect for me. A lot of opponents just not really knowing the count with Water Gun for my Shadow Whiscash, which is really nice for us. And now the opponent going to go for a Sky Attack there. I did think that they weren't going to full send a either a Flash Cannon or a Brave Bird. We're now going to shield the next Sky Attack, swap into my Haunter. Can we get the farm down in time? Yes, we can. We come out with a charge move loaded. They come in with Quagsire. We're going straight for the Shadow Ball here. Shadow Ball is going to one-shot the Quagsire from nearly full health. They come back in with the double, and I will be able to make it to back-to-back Ice Punches before the opponent can take me out with two charge moves here. So the opponent just continues to overfarm. We make it to Ice Punch number 2. Ice Punch takes out the double, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see Arctibax into a Lowland Sandslash. So not great for us. We're going to swap out straight away this time around, and the opponent comes in with a Medicham. Now this isn't really ideal because obviously I want my Haunter aligned to their Medicham, but I'm hoping to grab a shield. We're not able to grab the shield either, so I'm going to use my shield up the Psychic, play this how I don't really want to play this, but I thought, like, with the Medicham gone, Haunter isn't really going to be able to do much anyway, so there's no point saving my shields for the Haunter. And now the opponent can just come in with their Sandslash. They can safely shield up the Mud Bomb, get a massive farm down against us, but I'm hoping maybe they've got something else similar to the Medicham in the back, so maybe Haunter still has a little bit of play here, but let's see. The opponent going to go for a Drill Run, dealing big damage to us, and we do at least make it to a Dragon Claw before the opponent throws the next charge move. Dragon Claw grabs a shield from the opponent. They swap into Lantern, and what I should have done is bank a Dragon Claw on my Arctibax before I swapped out, but now we come in with the Haunter. All shields are down. I'm going to farm to when they make it to the next Surf, and this Shadow Ball is easily going to be enough damage to take out the Lantern, but I won't make it to another Shadow Ball. At least I thought I wouldn't, so I go for the Ice Punch, but the opponent wisely doesn't throw their energy straight away, and now if they're back-to-back moves, they just win. Ice Punch takes us out, and they did have a second charge move loaded, so well played by the opponent. Ice Punch takes out the Arctibax, and we do unfortunately lose that game. But into the next game, we see Quagsire in the lead, Shadow Quagsire as well. If they farm up to the Stone Edge, I will respect the damage, and the opponent does farm up to it here, so we're going to shield. The opponent goes for an Aqua Tail bait, so I'm expecting them to go for the Stone Edge next time around, and now we can go for a Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw grabs the shield, we swap into our Whiscash. I was hoping we just caught a Stone Edge, but they did wait one extra Mud Shot, so they just go for the Aqua Tail. They come in with a Licky Tongue, and we are going to overfarm in this matchup. We end up throwing on the CMP tie. I actually don't think this is enough for a Power Whip, but I don't really care. Mud Bomb does connect, it does some nice damage here, and it's also great to bait out the Licky Tongue so that my Haunter doesn't have to see it. They did just go for a body slam there, so they will be able to make it to another body slam up against my Arctibax, but I don't mind that whatsoever. It's not going to do an awful lot of damage. I then can overfarm in this matchup, go for a Dragon Claw just before they make it to the next charge move. We were quite close to farming them down, but I don't think we would have got there. So we take them out with the Dragon Claw, and we make it to another Dragon Claw on what looks like another CMP tie, taking out the Quagsire, and the opponent has a Gliscor in the back. Now this is not ideal for me. The opponent going to go for a Night Slash there, grabbing my final shield. I thought the best solution was to throw on the potential CMP tie with the next charge move. We go for the Ice Punch, grabbing the final shield, and can I make it to a Dragon Claw in time? On my Arctibax, the opponent doesn't get the Night Slash boost. Can we get there in time? Yes, we can, and we win the CMP tie, which is absolutely perfect for me. Dragon Claw takes out the Gliscor, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next battle, we're going to see Arctibax into another mirror match. So a lot of Arctibax that I did see were in the lead, and here we are going to overfarm. This time it looks like we're going to go for the Dragon Breath farm down. Take switch advantage here, but no, actually swap into Whiscash, and that's just a big mistake. I thought I could Water Gun farm them down from that point, but no, they make it to a Dragon Claw. They then come in with a Jellicent, which is also not a great matchup since we are running Water Gun, but we're going to go for a Mud Bomb here, and Mud Bomb actually grabs a shield from the opponent, so that is quite an interesting shield usage there, but Surf doesn't quite take us out, so they do get one extra Hex in for free, so quite nice for them. We are going to come back in with the Arctibax here, and we're once again going to go for the Avalanche, even though it is resisted damage, just because it will deal more damage than a Dragon Claw. We also throw on the CMP tie, so I'm hoping they're in range now, where we can just Shadow Claw, farm them down with the Haunter. And we do get that farm down, which is massive for me. Now here, they've got a Pelipper in the back. I've got to be wary of a catch, so I actually don't throw straight away. And then I'm expecting them to swap out immediately here, so I'm still not going to throw. I just continue waiting for the catch, and they never swapped out there. And I just lose with like 100 energy, so that was really funny. But GG's to that opponent there. Let me know in the comments if you've ever done that, where you've expected a catch, and they've actually just not swapped out, and you end up just not throwing a charge move because of that. But into the next game, we see a Shadow Shiny Dragonite in the lead, so really nice shiny, although I think the Dragonair looks a lot better than that Dragonite, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to overfarm here, going for a Mud Bomb just before the opponent makes it to the next charge move. Mud Bomb grabs a shield here. They do have to throw, otherwise we Water Gun, farm them down, and so Aerial Ace will be taking out my Whiscash. At this point I probably come in with the Haunter, and that's exactly what we do. We get 2 Shadow Claws off. The opponent comes in with a Lantern, and we can go straight for the Shadow Ball here. I do wait one turn just to make sure they don't try and make a catch. Obviously, they can still swap out because they had a 1-turn fast move, but this time around, hopefully, well, I am expecting another catch attempt from the opponent, so we still hold on to the energy. This time they did swap, so now we can go for the Avalanche. Avalanche, once again, going to do more damage than a Dragon Claw. We then make it to the Dragon Claw. Does this take out the Lantern from this range? It barely doesn't, but we get the Dragon Breath farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.